Welcome to Signal Over Noise. Arrest, torture, threats, even assassination attempts in the UK. A former top Iranian cleric who dared to challenge the Islamic Republic has joined me today. He calls on the world to act practically for the freedom and dignity of the Iranian people.
I'm pleasured, Mr. Enesanayati, to be participating in the first episode of Signal Over Noise.
Thank you, and welcome, Mr. Khoshbayan. It's an honor to have you. Let us begin with the state of the regime, the Middle East, Iran, and Islamic regime that has drawn the peaceful protest of the Iranian people involved with more than 35,000 killed and 1,000 imprisoned under these conditions. How do you assess the legitimacy of the Islamic Republic?
The legitimacy of the Islamic Republic has been eroding year after year since the very beginning of the revolution, when it immediately resorted to killing and torturing its own people and critics. But today, after such a massive number of innocent people have been killed and blind, the regime has crossed every red line imaginable. At this point, legitimacy can no longer even be discussed. It's like asking whether Hitler retained legitimacy after murder of over 6 million Jews. The answer is clearly no. Even the very structure of leadership in Iran, namely Ali Khamenei, isn't only unjust under religious law, but also a clear violation of fundamental human rights. No individual under any title or position has the right to dominate people's lives, property, freedom, or destiny. This is precisely what Khomeini did in 1979 and what Khomeini has continued. It was because of voicing this criticism that while I was still Iran, I was repeatedly arrested and tortured. Why? Why? Because I rejected theocracy. I removed my clerical robe to say no to religious law rule and the killing of people, and to expose through my own actions the illegitimacy of Islamic State.
The Islamic regime has lost its legitimacy through unprecedented mass killings of its own people, blinding young protesters, especially women, imprisoning thousands, and subjecting both men and women to rape, effectively holding them hostages in Iran. We have not forgotten how Hezbollah massacred civilians in Beirut, nor we can ever forget the terrorist attack of October 7th in Israel. Despite ideological differences among this group, do they not share the same terrorist roots and methods, in your opinion?
Mr. Anati, let me put this plainly. When we say this regime is like an octopus, we mean that it means its crimes against its own people first, and then extends those crimes outward through its various arms. The same behavioral patterns, the same crimes we see in Hamas, Hezbollah, or Hashd al-Sha'bi, with one difference. In Iran, these crimes are carried out under the name of a state that massacres its own citizens and spends public wealth not on welfare. These terrorist groups clearly share the same methods and ideological roots. In practice, there is no difference between them.
Yeah, you mentioned Hashtashabi as a terrorist group, and that's right. The IRGC now officially recognized, fortunately, as a terrorist organization, recently brought thousands of these militian Hashtashabi into Iran, where they participated in the killing of Iranians and Iranian civilians. I personally reported much earlier in a criminal investigative article on their armed presence inside Iran. The murder of Amit Sarlak, published on my own website, ernestnayati.com. Under such circumstances, what can defenseless Iranian civilians do? And from a moral and human perspective, what's your opinion? What's your view?
From an ethical and religious standpoint, people not only have the right to defend their lives, freedom, and dignity, they have a duty to do so. When operation becomes systematic and permanent, silence is no longer a moral option. Furthermore, this terrorist group operates with base and logistics in Iraq. This is happening while the Iraqi must take responsibility.
Mr. Khoshbayan, when people are subjected to violence, oppression, it is legitimate to seek help from the international community. So, requesting help to save human lives is neither treason nor against national interest. You, as a former top cleric, when people's lives are at risk, is seeking international help treason or defense of a nation's true interest?
The true national interests are protection of human life, ending violence, granting freedom, preserving human dignity, helping oppressed people is not interference. It's a humanitarian duty.
A foreign intervention is precisely what the regime fears and has tried to prevent through intermediaries like some countries in the Middle East. Yet, many Iranians openly demand international intervention, as seen on social media, interviews, and videos coming from inside Iran. But at the same time, the regime claims that protest and foreign support constitute a war against Islam, declares Ali Khamenei, a red line. Oh my God, it's uh, a red line and threatens Western countries. What's your response to Ali Khamenei or Iranian government?
Unfortunately, the West has still not fully understood the true nature of the Islamic regime or political Islam more broadly. Not only Iran, but other regimes in the regime have managed to impose ideological and economic influence within Western societies. As a former cleric and secular of Islamic studies, I must issue a clear warning. Take political Islam seriously and recognize its dangers. In the case of the Islamic Republic, you are dealing with a regime founded on hostility toward the West. If it isn't confronted now, if the Iranian people are not supported in overthrowing it and appeasement continues, then even a new version of this regime will follow the same path. New clear ambitions, missile programs, hostage taking of Western citizens, and terrorist acts directly or through proxies will continue. The West must choose. On one side stands a nation of 85 million people demanding freedom, secularism, and transparent, stable political and economic relations with the West. If I were in the position of Western leaders, I would take such people far more seriously because this is a win-win.
You mentioned terrorism and money laundering. The Islamic Republic's links to terrorist and criminal networks in Britain make this a particularly sensitive issue, especially as the country has seen a rise in extremist Islam and terrorist incidents in Britain, unfortunately. One contributing factor appears to be the regime's use of these criminal networks, including the exploitation of illegal migration to destabilize security in that country. What's your view on this, and how serious are the public concerns about migration and some security issues?
Okay, I fully understand and consider legitimate the concerns of the British people regarding extremist Islam and its consequences for national security and social cohesion. Every country has the unquestionable right to protect its citizens. The rule of law and historical and cultural values. Also, in my opinion, all migrants, especially Muslims, must respect the Church of England. Accepting migrants is a sovereign choice, not obligation.
Now let me turn back to the Middle East. After a fall of the Supreme Leader's regime, do you believe in deeper friendship and positive relations between Iran and Israel?
Absolutely yes. The people of Iran were never enemies of Israel, are not enemies today, and will never be enemies. Iranians people and Jews have shared relations for thousands of years. Exactly. I believe I believe one of the first achievements, the Lion and Sun revelation after the regime's overthrow will be the restoration of strong, stable, and mutually beneficial relations with Israel.
Okay, thank you very much for this nice response. And what would the world look like without the Islamic Republic in Iran?
Peaceful relations with all regional countries, official recognition of the state Israel, reduce extremism and terrorism, greater regional security.
Mr. Khoshbayan, do you have a message for Iranians living under fear, violence, and oppression?
We are victims of a regime that has used religion and ideology as tools of repression. All structures that justify killing, imprisonment, torture, and fear must be dismantled forever. The future Iran must be secular, democratic, human-centered, um, based on human rights. Religion must not interfere in policies. No religious or ideological institution than man. As an Iranian man, I am proud of each every one of you, of those who stood against oppression, of the families who raised such honorable daughters, of the women who not only removed their headscarves, but risked and gave their lives for homeland, freedom, and humanity. We stand with you and will continue. Mr. Enayati, if I may, I would like to pay a special tribute to the U.S. administration.
Yes, yes, please, go ahead.
As a former Iranian cleric and a scholar of religion, and as someone who knows the structure of the Islamic Republic's system of governments in Spain, I call on the international community, especially United States, to deliver on the support they have promised to the Iranian people and make it practical and effective. This is in everyone's interest and must be done before it is too late.